What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge. Excuse me. Your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not close. What do we tell you all the time? You're going to have days where you just kind of go along, money management, bankroll management, and then every so often, for us, it's usually every couple of days, we have days like yesterday. Look at that glorious screen. 7-2 in straight bets. And how about my man EC? We were perfect on Early Edge in 5. So much so that we hit a plus 209 moneyline parlay. All 3 games, all 3 were double-digit wins. The Bulls were up 21, or that screen could have been better, and they blew a 21-point lead, but we still cashed the under. That's what the crew does, and we love doing it with you. Now, normally Wednesday's very, very busy day at the brand, but because of the Farmers Insurance Open starting today, the golf show is already in your feed. I encourage you to go watch it this morning. You can still get afternoon tee times. It's a weird week, a Saturday finish. And also, don't forget, Thursday we'll have a very special episode of the Prop Shop with Prop Stars on the Twitter Spaces, and we get ready for Championship Sunday. All right, all the housekeeping is done. Let's bring in the stars of the show, because you know we're going to go 4 wide on this beautiful Wednesday. And first and foremost, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. M Squared. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Buckets, Larry. Great to see you guys fired up for today. Huge NBA slate, college basketball, and, of course, golf on a Wednesday. I absolutely love the early start for the golf tournament.
Why can't we have this more? I'll talk to the bosses. They don't listen to me a lot, but let's have this more, Mikey. All right, next. He is the OG of OGs. Been here since day freaking 1. He is the maestro, Larry Hartstein. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. Love to see EC doing so well, and maybe as this show progresses and as his role progresses, I'll tell you a couple background stories on EC and how he came to our attention. Interesting guy for sure. Relentless. The energy is always there with that guy.
Oh, he is relentless, and right now we're kind of trying to put something together to figure out who has better winning percentages on days that they have dates that night. So with that being said, Buckets, how are things?
Coach, I had a nice little 3-2 yesterday, and I had a date last night, so maybe it'll be a bit more competitive than people think between me and EC.
Please tell me you did not tell her to watch the show this morning.
I did not tell her to watch the show. I am learning from my mistakes here, Coach.
I made a call last night. Because of you and EC. I'm not going to tell you who the call was to, but I have an idea. I have an idea, and I made a call last night. All right, let's get into it. Storylines that could affect the betting lines. I got to tell you, did you not just hear what Mikey said? It's a big slate in the NBA, which means it's going to be a long day of frustration. But yesterday we beat them, so why can't we do it today? I am ready. I've got my pad. I've got my pen. Mikey, start us off with the injury report.
All right, Coach, it's a busy one here. First, we'll start by identifying the travel and rest spots that are of note. There are 2 teams playing their 3rd game in 4 days, which also happens to be the second night of a back-to-back. That's the Denver Nuggets on the road and the Pelicans at home. Indiana Pacers on a back-to-back. Tyrese Halliburton's still out. Andrew Nembhard missed last night. He is questionable again tonight. Brooklyn and Philly. Joel Embiid listed questionable for this game. This is a massive rest spot for the 76ers. They are coming in on 3 days rest. The Nets are on 2 days rest, the 2 most rested teams in the NBA currently. For the Houston Rockets, Kevin Porter remains out. Jabari Smith, he is listed questionable. For the Denver Nuggets, big matchup on the road against Milwaukee. Milwaukee is favored by 7.5 here, a pretty strong indicator that we should see at least one of the guys sit. The guys questionable are Bones Highland, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., all listed questionable. Michael Porter's been dealing with a personal matter that has kept him out the last few games, but he is listed questionable to rejoin the team tonight. For Atlanta, DeAndre Hunter and Okongwu both listed questionable. For Minnesota, Rudy Gobert questionable tonight against New Orleans. On the Pelicans side, Brandon Ingram close to returning, but does remain doubtful. Najee Marshall missed last night. He is questionable tonight. For Toronto, OG Anunoby listed questionable. And then for the Lakers, this one's interesting here. LeBron James finally scored 40 points against the Clippers. He's done at least 40 points against every single team in the NBA. He's listed questionable tonight. It's interesting because I think this could be a spot that he does rest on the back-to-back. With Anthony Davis eligible to return here, he's listed probable on a minutes limit. And then Rui Hachimura, he is going to make his Lakers debut tonight.
And I tell you what, Mikey, out here in Southern California, it's all they're talking about right now. Every lead on the news is about this trade and Anthony Davis coming back. Tonight's a big night for the Lakers. But do your homework around 4 or 5. Take the notes that you just took. Then go and look up the starting lineups and then match them up and make your choice accordingly. Thank you, Mikey. Always appreciated. All right, now, Maestro, I'm coming to you because the other night, the Houston Cougars were big favorites, but they stubbed their toe. What are they looking like moving forward? Talk to me.
Yeah, that was a shocker on Sunday with the Temple Owls, 19.5-point underdogs, almost 1,200 on the money line. They go into Houston. They win 56-55. Houston was number 1. That knocked them down to number 3. And now they visit Orlando and UCF. This is an interesting spot. The bounce back money is already coming. We saw this open at 9. It's up to 9.5. UCF has given up 80 points in regulation the last 3 games. Johnny Dawkins not happy with the defense there. But this is interesting because Houston hosted the Knights a few weeks ago. They were laying 15.5. They only won 71-65. But one key guy you got to check for Central Florida, is he going to come back tonight? That's Darius Johnson. He led the Knights with 17 points that game. He averages about 12. He's been out several games. The foot injury, they're saying he's day-to-day. My guess is he doesn't go, and people are assuming he's not going to go, and they're laying the lumber right now with the Cougars.
Very interesting. See, every college team kind of goes through a dip. I feel like this is Houston's dip during their season, but keep your eye on them tonight. Great storyline, Maestro, by you. Now, our favorite league here at the Early Edge, as Buckets has continued to educate us over the years, is the Bundesliga. But we also have an affection for the Premier League. And this weekend, they get back to it on Friday and Saturday. But Buckets, there is one man that will not be on the sideline on Saturday that most definitely could affect the betting line. Talk to me.
This is absolutely going to affect the betting lines on these EPL games, as of course we are talking about the Chelsea legend Frank Lampard. He has been sacked as the manager of Everton, and we've talked a couple times on the show already with how congested the schedule is, with how busy everything is, and the pressure that there's on all these coaches to string together multiple wins. If you have even a bad month, it could result on you being let go. So Frank Lampard is out the door at Everton. And why this affects the betting line is due to something in the soccer world called the new manager bump. There's a superstition that whenever a manager is sacked or let go, the team plays significantly better the next 2 to 3 games. There's not really a ton of statistical data to back this up, but we've seen it with Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Bayer Leverkusen already this game. A team has a new form of free spirit to play the game without the pressures of the old manager. So be careful betting Everton, because even though they haven't won almost at all this year, we could see some very surprise performances as the team wants to bounce back aggressively under new management.
Why do I feel like I just missed like 3 weeks of shows? We've got the chat on their own typing #Bucketheads. We have you apparently have signed 3 or 4 endorsement deals in the last couple of weeks because Red Bull is now your Puma is now. You got things working all over the place, Buckets. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, Coach?
You're buying the good steak these days, aren't you? Buying the good steak these days.
I'm not taking the dates to Arby's anymore. We've bumped up to Chick-fil-A on the weekends now. So progress.
I swear to God, last night, this is a true story. I drove by Panda Express and I just started laughing. And Crystal looked over me without missing a beat. She goes, "Buckets." I go, true story. I can't drive past Panda Express without laughing every single time. All right, we got to get into our board for the day. We were 7-2 yesterday with a plus 209 parlay. We're fired up. But if you're staring at these 3 faces, you know I got to pay those pesky little bills. Here's a word from one of our incredible partners.
New Sunday.
My son works across town at 3 Rock. Wait, isn't that a prison firefighting camp? Yeah, he's an inmate.
Hellfire's coming to you! running the fires like a superhero. I didn't think that I was worthy of wearing a CAL FIRE uniform. If you let me save your life, you'd be saving mine.
Fire Country. Special episode Sunday after the AFC Championship game on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
All right, it is that time. Buckets, don't laugh. I know you're reading the chat. Focus. All right, so you know me. I've been getting very frustrated lately, so I move all my picks to early edge in 5. It seems to be working. 2-0 yesterday. But we got 2 picks from SportsLine this morning. And by the way, we're getting towards the end of January. It is now time for you to become a SportsLine member if you haven't done it already. But I'm going to do you a solid. Use a promo code EARLY, and I'll give you 30 days for free. You can get plays just like these 2, way before everybody else. We're going to go Nets Sixers. You heard the injury report. That usually means more points because they don't want to play defense. You got less guys. They want to conserve that energy a little bit. So we're going to go Nets Sixers over 226. The last 2 games, the Nets have scored 120 and 117. The Sixers are 9-2 to this number in their last 11. Then game number 2, the Grizzlies. They're getting tired. 4th game on a 5-game road trip. They have been playing horribly the last 2 games, including blowing a 25-point lead to the Lakers. Excuse me, that was the Blazers. But, the Grizzlies have still been bad too. Get them mixed up sometimes. But we're going to take the Warriors minus the 3, minus 110. Again, there are 4 games tonight. 4 at 10 o'clock Eastern time or later. So you can spread your bets out just a little bit. All right, Kyle, I see you in the chat. And you're right. But the show evolves. Things evolve. But you want it? Buckets, this is for you. You got it. Mikey, it's a bounce back Wednesday. But why do we need to bounce back? We don't. It was 7-2. So this is just for fun. You know the drill, son. It doesn't matter the day of the week. We got golf on a Wednesday. We got college basketball. And when he's fired up, damn it, I'm fired up. So, Mikey, if you don't mind. Give it to me.
All right, Coach, we're going to hit a Big Ten basketball game here. We're going Maryland and Wisconsin over 123.5. This one is on the move this morning. I'm seeing 124.5 and 125 in a few places. Do not pay over 125. 125 would be the limit that I would want to jump in on this game. But it's a very important game for both teams in the Big 12. What I want to focus on here with Maryland is they're really good at generating second chance opportunities, and they are one of the better free throw shooting teams in college basketball here. Now they're playing on the home floor. I think this is a spot where we have one of those beautiful in-game situations where one team is up comfortably 5 to 7 points, just enough to continue to play the foul game, extend the game. I have this game going over pretty comfortably in the simulations that you can find on SportsLine, by the way. And another update for those in the app, you can find them in the app as well now. Sort the analysis, change the sport to general, not college basketball, leave it as general. You will see them there under my name. I post these by 10 p.m. the night before, which is when I recommend betting a lot of these college basketball lines to get ahead of the line movement. But we're going over 123.5 here in the low-scoring Big Ten game.
Educate and entertain, ladies and gentlemen. Educate and entertain. Do the work. Do the work. We hand it to you. Just do the work. All right. Speaking of doing the work, this man, he's just so casually just throwing out winners all over the place. But damn it, we're glad he's on our team. Do you have to drink every time I'm giving you a great intro?
I get nervous.
You get nervous. All right. We mentioned how much we love the Bundesliga, and I love the Triple H Bundesliga. Used to love how he talked. You don't even know who he is, Buckets. All right,
who?
I'm gonna get out of the way. I'm gonna shut up. Buckets, give me 2 winners, big boy. Give me 2 winners.
I got 2 winners for you in the Bundesliga here, Coach. Let's jump right into it. We're starting with the game happening at 12:30 this afternoon in the matchup between Mainz and Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund, as everyone knows them. We're taking Dortmund over 1.5 goals team total at minus 105. Dortmund just spent 31 million euros earlier this year to pick up a striker from Ajax Amsterdam named Sebastian Haller. Unfortunately, as soon as Haller arrived, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer, but he has been fighting through that, and he made his debut back with Dortmund in a friendly earlier this month in which he scored 3 goals in 11 minutes. He is expected to get his first start this afternoon after a tremendous recovery, and he is hungry and he is looking for goals in this game. Expect him to get one, possibly a couple if we see him start, but Dortmund as a team gets over 1.5, no problem here. Then to our second pick, we're going on the matchup at 2:30 this afternoon, and staying in the German Bundesliga, it's Bayer Leverkusen versus VfL Bochum, and I'm taking both teams to score at -115. Both of these teams are flying high right now as Leverkusen just beat their rivals Gladbach 3-2 last week in a game in which they scored 3 goals, and none of those goals came from their actual good goal scorers. So this is a team that possesses attacking talent all over the pitch to where they can be deadly from literally anywhere at this point. Meanwhile, Bochum has won 3 games in a row for the first time since 2017. So spirits are high there as well. I expect a lot of goals here, but BTTS at -115 is tremendous value for any game in the Bundesliga, if we're being honest.
And are you sometimes not being honest? The
I'm-
answer is no.
No.
The answer is no. By the way, if you guys want to play the ever popular hashtag Bucketheads game, we're going to have potentially 2 winners at the end of the show. You got to stay. But if you want to participate, type hashtag Buckethead and put in your Venmo. 2 questions. If Buckets can get it right, then somebody will win $100. 2 winners potentially. So settle in, Buckets, coming back to you. But you know where I'm going right now. And you can take the NFL out of the Maestro, but you can't take the Maestro out of the NFL. If you don't mind, Maestro, can you give me maybe one from a game this weekend and maybe one perhaps from tonight, sir?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with tonight and the NBA. You know, our colleague Tim Doyle over at NBA TV and, of course, with CBS, he believes the T-Wolves are worse when Rudy Gobert is on the floor, and it showed up the last time out. He was out for 3 games. They covered all 3, won 2 of them, very close loss against the Nuggets. He comes back. They lose to the worst team in the league, the Houston Rockets. He's questionable for tonight, as Mikey said. I hope he gives it a go. He said he felt good after the game because the Pelicans need this one. They've lost 5 straight. That is their season-high losing streak. They're 17-7, though, at home. The T-Wolves are 8-15 on the road. I don't think the Pelicans are in position to rest anybody with Zion and Brandon Ingram still out. CJ McCollum 0 for 8 from deep last night. I think he gets it going. I'll play the home team. They had a great comeback last night in the second half, almost beat the Nuggets, had 3 chances to win the game at the end, played a tremendous second half. And if you check out my pick on SportsLine, you'll see a very interesting trend that applies to this game. I'm going with the Pelicans, and I laid the 2, and it was up last night on SportsLine. And then in the NFL, Juju Smith-Schuster under 46.5 receiving yards. Mikey and I were talking about this one, and he likes it as well. You've got Kelsey, you've got Kadarius Toney, you've got Jerick McKinnon. Juju Smith-Schuster, last 3 games, his target share is less than 9%. He has only 9 catches the last 4 games. He's averaging 28 receiving yards the last 4 games. And to me, he just doesn't create the separation. He needs a scrambling Patrick Mahomes to get that separation and get that big 30-yard play. But with Patrick Mahomes not being able to scramble, most likely, I don't see Schuster getting loose. Smith-Schuster, I don't see him getting loose for 47 yards.
Yeah, I don't either. He's really been a player that hasn't shown up at all the last few games. I love this play. I'm a little surprised it was this high, to be honest with you. I really, really am. All right, Maestro, as always, 2 great picks. Thank you very much. All right, we've got 2 things left to do. Grab your paper, grab your pencil. Here is the recap. Again, first of 2 big shows today, Early Edge and 5 with the Speculator and EC coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. M Squared. Now, Wisconsin and Mikey, real quick, they've been a really good second half scoring team. Would you encourage people to look at the second half live in game?
I don't mind it if the game looks like we're looking at one that's a 2-possession game, a comfortable 5 to 7 point margin. That is where you definitely expect live overs to start to come into play. So I do think that second half will be interesting in this one. I think the final 3 to 4 minutes will obviously be very, very critical, depending on, we hope Wisconsin is trailing at that point.
That would be absolutely perfect. It absolutely would. Take that information, everybody. Take the information. All right, Buckets is on 2 plays from the Bundesliga today. Dortmund, team total over 1.5. They had an incredibly entertaining game the last time out. Then Leverkusen, they're really good offensively as well. Both teams have scored -115. Then from our show earlier in the week, United States lay the 1 goal. They're playing Serbia, and as the guru told us, Serbia has players that even Serbia didn't know were on their team. Let's take the United States -1. Then the Maestro, 2 big plays. Pelicans -2. And they're asking in the chat, it's already 2.5 some places, Maestro. What would you play that up to?
I wouldn't play it above 2.5.
Okay. And then Juju Smith-Schuster under 46.5. Then 2 plays from SportsLine itself. Warriors -3. And the Knicks and the Sixers. Let's go over 226 as the Fighting Ben Simmons come back to Philadelphia. Did you guys hear the story about Ben Simmons trying to get his engagement ring back? True story. Bought an $800,000 engagement ring for his fiance. And now she apparently does not want to give it back. So they're having issues with that. Ben, first problem. Don't buy an $800,000 engagement ring. That's on you. Buckets, did you change jerseys? Did you change shirts?
What do you mean?
You're in a.
Took the jacket off.
Oh, that was a jacket. Oh,
I think, Coach, I think he has sponsorship agreements that requires him to show certain logos, every 5 or 10 minutes on the show.
This is the recap segment.
So you changed. Oh, next level, man. You're way ahead of us. You're like 4 moves ahead. You're playing a lot of chess, and we're just hanging out checkers. All right. 2 questions for Buckets. All right. If you want to participate, you need to type #Bucketheads in the chat, and I need your Venmo. All right. First question, Buckets. Can you tell me what the full name of Triple H is?
Coach, I don't know if that's a team or a person, so I'm not a chance I can tell you what Triple H stands for. Huge, hefty. See, got nothing for you. Can't even.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley. All right. Now, somebody in the chat wrote Palm Sweaty, Mom Spaghetti. Do you know what artist that is a line from one of his, and I'm even giving it's a male, one of his songs. Can you tell me who that is?
I got you in the chat for this one. That is Marshall Mathers, a.k.a. Eminem.
Ding, 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 ding,
boom.
Ding, ding. Okay. We got one winner. Snake, I need you to pick one winner that took the time to write #Bucketheads and their Venmo. We're going to send it out personally from me right after the show, courtesy of Buckets. Well done, Buckets. You cheated, but well done. Well done. All right, a quick reminder. Coming up on Sunday, we have 2 big shows for you. Not 1, but 2 at 2 p.m. Eastern time, counting down to the NFC Championship game, the 49ers and the Eagles. Can't wait for that. Then later in the afternoon, we'll be back, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, counting down to the AFC Championship game, live from Arrowhead, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Special start time for that game is 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. The easiest thing to do is simply turn on your notifications, and every time we start a show, ding, there you are. It is that simple. Fun show this morning. We got a full day. But with that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. M Squared, Buckets, Maestro, Snake behind the scenes. I am the coach. Tell all your friends. We want everybody here. You want to have a good time. You want to learn a little bit. You don't want to be talked down to unless you don't pay for a showdown. Have a great day from the early edge. Good luck.